Good morning, everyone. Good morning. It's so nice to be here and seeing so many familiar faces that I worked with before. So it makes it very exciting and very nice experience for me. My name is Fusun Wehrmann. For those of you who don't know me, I'm the CTO of InPost Group, which you might not know. We are not operating in Germany yet. We are a sustainable out-of-delivery company which uses automated parcel machines, APMs, known as pack stations here, or to pick up and drop up locations like the kiosk around the corner. Today, I'm going to talk about the changing dynamics of the workplace and technology, and also what it means for the leaders and what kind of paradigm shift we are going all together right now. Before we dive in, I would like to ask one question. Who is working fully remote in this role? I would say 30–40%. Who is working hybrid? Who is every day in the office, needs to be every day in the office? All right, that's what I expected. We are mostly in the hybrid remote world still. And if we are going to talk about the future, we have to talk about remote, hybrid, and return to office, right? So, you have seen LinkedIn and social media. There is a lot of conversations going on. You might be on the remote camp or on the other side, but regardless of what situation you are in, we have a responsibility to create the best deal for our teams. And indeed, remote work changed Europe in many good ways, actually. If you look at the amount of remote work, in 5 years, it went beyond 4x. It went from 5% to over 21%. 70% of the employees workforce said, we are actually doing better at home. We are more productive at home. And the Generation Z, the generation that we should be invested in right now, prefers remote options. Every 3 out of 4 asking for remote options. In terms of inclusion, women, around 20% of them are more likely to work remotely than men. And if you believe them, the workforce said, a significant number says, I perform better working remotely or hybrid, and absenteeism is significantly less, around 17–18%, I guess, for the remote workforce. Not to mention the significant savings in office costs, like by 2025, only in Europe, it's going to be around 150 billion. So, in general, 80%, over 80% is saying, hey, I would like to have a remote or hybrid option, underlying the importance of a cultural framework, meaning everybody wants a meaningful job. We still want purpose. We still want to belong to something that makes sense. And yet, the CEOs, around half of them, a little bit more than half of them, they believe by 2026, we will all be back in the office, right? So in the UK, indeed, the remote people are back to the office 40%, I think almost full time. And 92% of the companies in the UK, they have some kind of being in the office mandate in one form and another. So why is this happening? Why is this happening? So the reasons, top reasons given are creating and maintaining a healthy company culture, monitoring, mentoring and coaching people, especially junior folks, which I understand. And then monitoring work. These are the top reasons. But I think we cannot ignore the impact of big, successful companies. Many executives look up to them and, seeing what they're doing, the Magnificent Seven, Google, Amazon, and Microsoft, they are all going certain path, and that has significant impact on today's enterprises. So, return to office is not new. It has been happening everywhere around the world. how successful it is debatable depending on the situation. Amazon just last week or 10 days ago, they announced they're going back to office 5 days a week. And companies like Dell, Walmart, others did that already. In certain situations, there was a significant backfire. In summer, when Dell did this, almost 50% of the workforce opted for staying remote, although it would mean never being promoted again. So we might say there's a tendency towards that, but then you have companies like NVIDIA and Spotify who are still offering remote options and sticking to it. So at least the last time I checked, it was still the case. But you see, things are changing very rapidly in this topic right now. So return to office implementations are happening, have been happening with varying degrees of success. But looking at the dynamic, distributed, and complex nature of our work, one-size-fits-all approaches tend to struggle to succeed. We know that. So my personal belief is that remote and hybrid are going to exist in one way or another. And in fact, I think it's going to become a valuable tool for many companies to tap into talent, to access to talent. So if you asked me a month ago, when I was starting to think about what I'm going to say here, I would say it's towards a hybrid model. The emerging trends, it's towards a hybrid model. Today, having seen the news from the last 2 weeks, I would say it's unknown for now. So, nevertheless, I would like to share my personal insights and experiences about returning to the office. First of all, it is not helping if you are beating people into the office, commuting and all that. And most of what they do, or all what they do, is being in online calls, fighting for the office, meeting places, and going over the corner at lunch, having pizza and fast food. It's not helping anybody. Not the teams, not the company, maybe the pizza guy at the corner is going to be happier. So what is great, however, is if you can articulate on why you are doing this, what being in the office is for, and making it count. For example, some of which will be accessing senior leaders, right? Being able to collaborate with them, being able to tap into their experience and advice, it can make all the difference. And there is this inclusivity part. This is the most important part for me. During COVID, we have seen what is possible, what everybody thought would not be possible. All of a sudden, for many people, it was an even playing field. And it came with great advantages. So we cannot lose that. And no matter what the policies in the companies are, we have to remember some people need different things to bring their A game. You can be a neurodivergent individual, a parent, or you need a couple of days at your hometown and whatnot. So please stay human and flexible as possible. Going a little bit faster on the slides. And it's an employer's market right now. What does it mean? It means, as a job seeker or someone in the workforce, there is a lot of competition. Options are not so many as it used to be. And that means employers have kind of an upper hand right now to set the terms, employment terms. But those of you who are in this business, in this industry more than a decade, we know these things go in circles. One day, it will be employers' talent market again. And then when the time comes, we all heard about the statistics and what people prefer. We need to be ready with our organizations. So be ready to support remote, in the office, and hybrid, no matter what the regulations say at your company. So the remote and RTO discussions signaling change, immediate change for many of the companies. That's not the only place, right? When we look at the responsibilities of a technology leader, what is expected from us, we also see a shift over there. Indeed, when we look at the CTO role, or technical leadership role, it has been pretty much about operational efficiency, maintenance. We run the data centers, cloud infrastructures, software development lifecycle. We have our cost centers, cost optimization, stability, managing IT security, which was like a back office thing a couple of years ago. And these things are, don't get me wrong, are still super important and not easy to do. Very important, very vital responsibilities. What is happening right now is an addition to this scope. 80% of the CTOs say after pandemics, their job became more business-centric. So security and privacy is a boardroom matter. We are supposed to co-own product strategy. Some of us lead product teams ourselves, and we need to help transform the businesses using emerging tech. AI, IoT, cloud, what have you. And I think the most important shift is towards long-term thinking, not only fixing today's problems or near future's problems, but generating durable, future-capable solutions. And where is AI in that, right? So if we are expanding our role into more driving innovation and transformation, I think one of the biggest forces there is AI. And for a lot of us, it is nothing new. We worked with AI before, we had machine learning models, but in the last years, there is like an emerging trend towards generative AI and LLM models. And this is not only a trend, it's a paradigm shift in how we think, how we work, how we create value. So generative AI or LLM models, if you look how the situation is right now, it's most of the use cases are around generating reports, summaries, extracting content, generating images, creating tables out of a document. It's all good and fine, but in the future, we expect more serious stuff, more strategic stuff. And it will come. It comes with its challenges, and it will need us, it will need the workforce to be ready for it. Let's take an example. So if we are going to create an LLM model for such a strategic and important question like this, which is, how do I create a go-to-market strategy for my new product in the German market, right? It is going to impact my investment. It is going to impact what risks I'm taking as a company. So first of all, you need to train the model. Where do you get the information? It's going to be company information, proprietary, and confidential. So there is this challenge. And then there's this data pollution problem. Also nothing new. The quality of input is not always easy to get. And LLM models hallucinate, meaning, given the data, they can give you something inconsistent, irrelevant, and totally made up, right? And that is then leading to the question, who is going to verify if the model is generating an optimal outcome, right? That means we still need skilled humans to work with AI efficiently. That will be a skilled, upskilled workforce doing some stuff, doing certain things so we can get the most out of it from this technology. First of all, knowledge capture. Organizations generate a lot of data. You know yourself. A lot of files about the same thing, zillion versions spread across your storage, SharePoint, what have you. How do you curate the necessary data? It's not easy, let alone making sure it's clean and organized. And then verifying outputs, we just talk about it. How do we know the output is okay? It is not a new thing. Like code, we can test and verify LLM models, but when it's about something strategic to the business, humans' involvement not only beneficial, but also necessary. So we are not making decisions based on faulty assumptions. Cost-benefit analysis, again, LLMs are very expensive, hard to fine-tune right now. There needs to be a consideration of the resources you are investing is not offsetting the benefits you are getting from it. Conflicts, again, it taps into the output of these models. You can, based on the same data, LLM models can generate different outputs. You can have conflicting answers from different departments about the same strategic question. What are you going to do right then? So you will need some kind of a central unit or experts who is going to help you make the right decision. And as you can see, there's going to be jobs changed, redefined, reshaped through this AI work. So we need to think about upskilling our organizations regarding AI right now, meaning not only understanding how AI works, but how do we adapt to AI-driven work together with our domain know-how, whether it's in product management or marketing or engineering. We need to learn how to integrate AI into the current expertise we have. And new roles will emerge. I am sure of it. AI will not replace our jobs, but especially in technology, we will see shifts, changes to our current responsibilities and how we do work. And for CTOs especially, there's a lot of responsibilities coming from that. So, folks, we are not anymore custodians of infrastructure or keepers of code or managing a cost center. We are a strategic transformation enabler for businesses right now. So all good and fine. How about real life? You know, the reality sometimes catches up with you really fast. I would like to, in the last section, tell you about my own experiences about transformation. So at the InPost group, where I have been working now for over 2 years, we have been going through the so-called tech transformation for the last almost 2 years. And why need to transform, right? So this company has been growing significantly in the last decade, especially being a logistics company. During COVID times, the growth was immense. And we see that there is undeniably more potential for growth. So the question we are asking ourselves was, are we using our tech team, tech capabilities, and investment in the right way? Is it how we get to our full potential? And having this super ambitious strategy for a company that already has, a significant size. We have around 10,000 people. My team is around 700 people. We are processing 1.2 billion parcels every year. So quite significant in size. So we are asking this question, what do we need to do? And pretty much 3 months into the CTO role, we defined 4 blocks for transformation: people, process, technology, and product. And the people part is all about building and retaining the winning team, processes to be executing well at scale. Technology is basically needed everywhere for enabling and innovating, and product shifting towards a more product-oriented, customer-centric work. So I'm going to spare you a lot of the details, just touch a few things that help with the positive results we were able to achieve. So I think there is no surprise, the most impactful, the most important work stream was the people stream. Knowing what we know, and we had kind of a distributed structure and local teams, but with a global and unified vision, we asked ourselves, what is the future of this organization going to be like? Are we doing the distributed local teams, or are we doing everything central, or something in the middle? And creating consistency through the organization What are the roles we have? How do we understand roles and expectations, competencies, all that thing. Hiring and talent management is extremely important there. Your ambitions and what you want to achieve is only possible through a healthy and focused talent management. But to be honest, we talked about it, especially in our size, no new skill, no new capabilities can be hired from outside fully. You cannot get there. You have to work on your team. We understand that skilling, upskilling, is a fundamental homework we had to do. Support systems is around, compensation models, career development frameworks. Are we hybrid? Are we remote? How is the whole organization is supporting this? So, and the process, we learned process is all about executing well. So if you are a growing company, there are things that works well for you, founder-led, you go fast, you do things, best practices without bureaucracy. But as you move, as you move in the ladder, as you get bigger and bigger, things get more complicated. You have to communicate better. You have to be formalizing, structuring things, and automating things. So we learned a lot about this during this journey, and we learned we are not strategic enough when planning our work. Engineering excellence is, I think we all agree, you got to do the engineering work also well. And this was the most difficult part. It still is, building a product-oriented organization, because this is where the reality catches up with you real fast. On one side, you have the by-the-book product management practices. On the other side, you have a leadership team, senior leadership team, a board, investments that are very specific in strategy. They give you specific input. They define big initiatives that are very big, very expensive, very high priority, what we call big rocks, big bets that need to take place in your roadmap. You got to take them into consideration. It's not negotiable. And then there are the teams, cross-functional teams. You have product managers, engineers, stakeholders. That's the world we all know. Plus the wonderful, endless, beautiful list of requests and ideas in a huge backlog. So we learned in our reality, we have to take this into consideration, go through a relatively complex planning cycle, actually, again and again, and out comes actually one roadmap, one plan for the tech organization. The biggest learning we had was we have to give perspectives from different angles. What is in for the consumer area next year is one perspective, but the country manager in France only wants to know what is in for France next year from the roadmap. So, in general, lessons learned from the transformation journey that we still are in, it's a journey, it's not an event. It's never done, it's not something that happens, it's a transformation. And ecosystem needs to be moving with you. That was also a big learning. My team was very eager to change things, do things differently. We were burning for transforming, but then the stakeholders, if they are not coming with you, if they are not seeing where you are going, sometimes you get friction, right? For an example, we are now one global team, but the HR organizations where my teams are physically located, they have a local focus, right? So if I'm defining something global, like a recruitment process, I have to go negotiate, train, and align with individual HR teams. It's just a fact. I have to embrace it. We have to deal with it. True north, the reality catches up with you. We talked about it. And the true north is not to get there. It's just for you not to lose your way. And last but not least, we had it too. Around 6 months or 1 year into the transformation process, there is always a dip. I always had this. And just don't lose your faith. It is just before you take off to reach good heights. So with that positive note, I want to say thank you, and if we have, I will take some questions. Any questions? Oh, yeah. So we do have questions. Do you have some answers to CEO when he is pushing for 5 days in the office? So he hasn't done so yet, but I'm planning to use some of the content from this presentation. And most of all, no matter what we do, a rigid policy like that will come with damage, right? I'm guessing it's between 5 and 10% in any organization. We have to take it into account. It's going to be an expensive exercise. I think that's the best answer I can give right now. Do you have real example of using AI in the company to improve processes on a bigger scale? Yes, I do. So I've seen it in many situations. At our company, we have the data organization actually rolling up to the CEO. But being a logistics company, of course, we are using it, route optimization, making sure we are, being mindful about fuel. So optimization of resources and logistics is a very common use case. CTOs now have a lot of responsibilities. How do you personally ensure you give adequate attention to important things? Honestly, I try to do my best. I try to, this four-quadrant thing, important things, non-important things, urgent and not urgent. I try to reflect on that as often as I could, because in my world, with the size of my organization, there's always too many urgent stuff going on. You have to snap yourself out of it, say, what about this thing that never gets the airtime? You said people say, I work better remote. How about collaboration? Do you think personal contact matters in team dynamics? Yes, I do. I think without any human contact, without ever coming together, creating a company culture consistently is very, very difficult. It's in the human nature. That doesn't mean we beat people into the office, in my opinion, but I do believe we need to create opportunities for people to come together, to talk, and just be out of daily operational work. RTO, when offering flexibility for some cases, it's harder to avoid abuse of this flexibility, especially in major companies. How would you tackle that? That's a tricky question, but I've been in this industry 25 years. I've seen people abuse their resources, time, positions also at the office, even more so. Going out for lunch and disappearing for 2 hours, it's also abuse of some time. So I think it's all about creating this culture, the contracts, and having the right tools to bring us together, to create the best deal for everyone. And it's all about delivery, right? If you are delivering the value you are supposed to deliver, is it important if you do it in 2 days or 2 hours? I have my own opinion about that. Why a transformation was needed in your company, and who was the enabler actor that put in place this transformation? The reason that we triggered was growth. Our company was very strong in one market with a lot of successes. The brand is almost as big as Google, and we had 8 other markets, and we had to enable create the success in the markets. And with a distributed, isolated, siloed organization, that was not happening. That was the main reason. Questions are gone. I assume my time is over. Thank you very much, and I hope we can have a chat later today.